Hello everybody, back again. Double. I wanted to clarify that last reading because for me it left me hanging. It was just like, what do I do with this information? And, the message that I got, without looking at the whole video again because it was so long, but the whole message that I got was that we are part of source and we need to go back to that source energy. We need to do some meditation to get back to that source energy. And I'm going, great. Okay, so what does that mean for me in this time space now? So if we subscribe to the theory that we all came from source energy, and we decided to come down to this earth school so that we could experience separation from source, so we could experience an individual type existence, so that, and again, I'm not quite sure why we're experiencing that individual type existence, if not to take us back to source, to give source information on our existence down here and how we manage it, how we manage the duality, the plurality of things, pluses and minuses. I was going to say good and bad, but I'm not sure there is like good and bad. It's an experience that when we get into a higher dimension and density, some people talk about density and dimension, and so I go, is that a different thing? For me, the way that I interpret it in my linear brain space is that they are the same. Some people will disagree, I'm sure, because we all have separated from source and we are all on individual paths trying to figure out how to work together. So yes, some people's individual idea of a dimension or density will be different than mine, but just kind of roll with this a little bit and see where we go with it. So if we are on the third density, 3D, where we feel things, we touch things, it's 3D. We listen to news, low level. When we get to 4D, the way that I perceive it is that we're getting into this area of mediumship where we can drop into a meditative state, and I'm going to use this word loosely, it's work. We have to drop into this meditative state and then work to walk through the veil. And as we go through the veil, invite the unseen guides, angels in. And then we sit and have a chat with them. And getting back to the chat with them, that would be either a feeling, a knowing, hearing, maybe we're seeing them do something, just a movement, whatever. I mean, we're using all our clairs to try to access the information that they are giving. They're coming from a higher vibration, a higher dimension, density than we are at, because we're at 3D. And so it's this communication challenge that we have to walk through. Just like if we go to another country and we're talking to somebody that doesn't speak our language, we still communicate with them, and sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's just like, wow, they said I could stay at their house for 3 days, and they said no. You can't stay in our house. We're going to let you stay in my cousin's house. Okay, that was a squirrel moment. So, getting back to getting back to the first reading, what does it mean to get back to source energy, having some alone time? I mean, for me, I got the message. It was just like, let it go. Let the 3D world go that's bothering you. Get quiet and get reconnected with the energy of source. And I go, great, but how does that help me in my 3D space? Because I'm in 3D land, and the cards for me were speaking of high 4, 5D, getting back. Because when do we get back to source? When we end this physical life, is it the fourth dimension? Is it the fifth dimension? And how many dimensions are there? Some people, I hear them talking, many, like 3,500. I don't know. I'm barely getting out of 3D. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's look into this a little bit more, because what I got was, and I'm going to show you what the cards say and go into it a little bit in detail. But what I got from the second pull of using the Galactic Heritage cards of, what did you mean? What's our path to get back to source? Because that's too big of a jump for me. And what I got was, the last card was seeking karmic balance. And here is the last card, seeking karmic balance. Let me hold it up a little bit longer. Okay. And this is the Pleiades. This is the present. And the Pleiadians are somebody, I don't know, somebody? What do you call them? Some galactic being that is here to assist us in our journey. So the seeking karmic balance is looking at things that are going on in this 3D life that is neither good nor bad necessarily, but taking what we perceive as bad and saying that gave us a lesson that we don't have to repeat. And we are going to move forward into a higher state of consciousness. And when we fall back into that, i.e. me watching news last night, then I need to let that go and say, don't fall back into that lesson of being in the sewer. Stay out of that. You've already learned how to do that. How do you learn that? Alone time, going back to source. Let's take a look at some of the cards before I get too crazy on this. Okay, let me drop this down. Okay. You don't necessarily need to look at my coffee cup. Let me clean this up. Okay, so the very first card we get is Zeta Reticuli, Primal Fears, a survival fears. What this card is about is when the Zetas, this species, nearly destroyed themselves due to planet toxicity. This is what I was focused on, that whole Oregon trip, spraying glyphosate all over our planet. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, let go of it, Danny. And misuse of technology. And I'm thinking of all our AI stuff. And when the Zetas realized that their species was dying, their planet was dying, they experienced the most primal of fears. And these fears made them look and take a deep look within and make drastic changes. So this is where we're going right now, is taking a look at this and making drastic changes so that we can get out of here alive, so to speak. The second card we get is protectiveness, Lyra. Lyra are lions, very strong, very protective. And so there's a lot of us that want to protect the old ways, not move into the change. Go, hey, we had something really good. We want to protect it, but things have changed. Things have gone on. We look at the planet with the toxicity. We look at our technology, how that's moving. So we're still hanging on to the old way a little too strongly and not allowing the new changes to come forward. So this card is asking us, are we the protector, or are we the ones that are in need of protection? And to me, it just feels like we are the ones that are hanging on too much to some of the old stuff. And that gives us and leads us to confusion. I don't think I need to go any further or any deeper into that, because we have that in spades right now. Where did that term come from? That's interesting. Anyway, so Andromeda parallel. And from the book, just the first two sentences on this, it says, we often feel safe and secure when things stay the same. When things change, we feel a profound sense of disorientation or confusion until we can realign ourselves in the new reality and build a map for navigating it. And then it goes on to say, to help this process, try to see that often the same messages or life lessons are being given to you in different packages. Okay, wow. Find the continuity in these different messages, and it'll help ease the confusion. Okay, moving on. What do we get? We get desperation. And in this card, which follows the confusion, we get desperate to try to change something. And so we drop into this, we drop from survival fears into desperation, and we start acting out of fear. We don't act out of a sense of calmness, as a sense of all these are life lessons that we are learning to help us grow. We are acting on trying to keep the same in place, acting on fears, and so we make the wrong choices. This is where I was, making the wrong choices mentally to try to get out of this anxiety that the external world puts on me. So it's just a life lesson. And it's just, I mean, we see so much going on, and it's just so hard to try to stay in balance with this. And so make sure that we're thinking of what is bringing us comfort, what is bringing us fear. The next card I get, and this is the last card in the whole deck, and this is emptiness. And when I first pulled this card, when I first got this deck, I went, emptiness. And if it's 108, which is a 9, which is the end of the cycle, this is the end of the deck going back to Creator. So we started out with the Creator card and the Founder's energy, and now we're at the end of the deck. We're going back to Creator, which was back to the first spread that I pulled on this topic, emptiness. And when we look into the emptiness, reading from the book again, she says, imagine taking off in a plane. At first it is bumpy, and the scenery is filled with many distracting things. As you take off and fly through the clouds, love that image, it is like passing through the emotions. Sometimes there's bumpiness in the clouds, but eventually you rise above it. And there is no good, there is no bad, there is just an awareness of looking out that window. And the major hills that we had to climb become little hills, if that. Sometimes we don't even see them. They blend into the topography so much. The next card I get, which is the perfect one, is, for me, in this reading, is Seeking Karmic Balance. And this card is, and again, it's another Palladian card. Oh, it's not again. I talked about this in the beginning of the spread. But it's a Palladian card. And this is talking about the Palladians being 4th to 5th density species. And they recognize that their past imbalances with these survival fears, and the confusion acting out of fear and desperation, that they have gained a sincere intention to balance karma by recognizing that all things happen for a reason and learning from their choices. So to me, when I pull this card out, it is saying, ask the Palladian guides for help in balancing out our past choices so that we can keep moving forward. We keep looking. It says here to take an honest look at your repeating challenges. And I think about the wars that we keep repeating over and over again. So ask our guides, help us solve this. Obviously, it's not working. And I think from the 3D perspective that, I'm going to lift this up, that as we see more and more of the horrors that we as a species inflict on each other, the wars, the destruction, the starvation, the toxicity on the planet, as we keep seeing that over and over again, ask our guides and angels to bring us to a new awareness, to focus on the opposite of the rebuilding, the fixing of, and focus on that. And even if we drop into that meditative state for a few minutes, that helps set a vibration in motion. And so we want to do that and keep doing that so that we get into this balance of not so much it's wrong and it's fearful, but that it's a life lesson that we learned that we don't have to repeat. I think that's the clarity that I needed, and I hope that this makes sense to you guys. All right. This is kind of my spread, but I thought I'd put it up just because maybe some other people are as confused as I am about certain things going on in the planet, on the world, and maybe this helps. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Peace and love.